Lord, I pray for the protection of all the people of Springdale. I pray for those suffering and give you thanks for the beauty you have given us in every moment of today. I pray, Lord, that our community work together for the common good and that you help this council seek your wisdom as we make decisions on behalf of our residents. Lord, help the city to continue to prosper and provide an abundance of services and opportunities to all of our residents. In your name we pray. Amen.
Thank you, Amelia. I will now call to order this regular meeting of the Springdale City Council. This is Tuesday, April 9th, 2024. And we'll start out by asking Debbie to call the roll.
Mayor Doug Sprouse,
Here.
Brian Powell,
Here.
Amelia Taldo,
Here.
Jeff Watson, Mike Overton, Mike Lawson,
Here.
Rex Bailey,
Present.
Randall Harriman,
Here.
Mark Fougerus,
Here.
Ernest Kate,
Here.
and
All right, thank you. We're at item 4 on the agenda. This is the portion of each council meeting that the council sets aside to hear comments from our residents. If we have residents that would like to address the council tonight, I ask that you please come to the microphone, clearly state your name and address. We ask that you keep your comments brief and understand that the council won't take action tonight on what you bring forward. Is there anyone that would like to address the council concerning an item that is not already on tonight's agenda? All right, seeing none, we'll move on to the approval of minutes. Item 5, council, you've had access to the minutes now for a few days. Hopefully you've had an opportunity to look those over. If there are no questions or additions, I would entertain a motion to approve the minutes as presented.
So moved.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion, a second. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. All right, thank you. Item 6, public hearing, and I'm going to turn that over to our city attorney, Ernest Kate.
Thank you, Mayor. Item 13 on the agenda is a resolution vacating and abandoning 2 drainage easements on property in the city of Springdale, Arkansas. Statute requires before you can take up the ordinance that a public hearing be held, and the city clerk has published notice of the public hearing. So I'll open the public hearing. Is there anyone that wishes to speak on this ordinance? If not, I'll close the public hearing. We'll take the item up on item number 13.
All right, thank you. Item 7, procedural motions. What's your pleasure, council?
I move for A and B. Second.
Got a motion, a second for A and B. Roll call, please, Debbie.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes.
Carry 7-0.
Our city attorney just reminded me we've got the electronic voting going on. I was moving on. I'm force of habit, so I'll get it. The rest of them we'll do on the electronic voting. Item 8. We've got a special guest here tonight, along with some family and friends, and get the privilege of presenting a proclamation. Quentin Clevenger is here. Quentin, I will meet you at the podium and present the proclamation, all right? How are you tonight?
I'm good.
Good. All right, I'd like to read this proclamation, and then I'm going to turn it over to Quentin, and he has some remarks he'd like to make as well. All right? Whereas Quentin Clevenger is 12 years old and a 7th grader at Don Tyson School of Innovation, Quentin recently competed in the Regional Geography Bee in Fort Smith, Arkansas. He earned first place in the 7th grade group. And whereas Quentin will now have the opportunity to travel to Vienna, Austria, to compete in the international competition in July. With this experience, he hopes to expand his knowledge about the world and be open-minded to other people's views. Using that knowledge, his plan is to start a club to help with map literacy and increase the open-mindedness of others and advocate for teaching history and geography in order to improve our country and understand other people's cultures in this diverse nation. And whereas geography has been an important part of American history, George Washington, our first president, was by trade a land surveyor before he was General Washington or president. He kept records of plants, trees, land formations with his surveys. The most famous geographers were explorers Lewis and Clark. Using their surveyor tools, they surveyed the Louisiana Purchase and land all the way to the Pacific Northwest. They recorded the natural geography, terrain, landscapes, natural resources, wildlife, and people while mapping a route across this continent. They established diplomatic relationships with Native Americans. Upon their return, Meriwether Lewis had identified 178 plants and 122 animals. Their understanding of geography, astronomy, and climate allowed them to make extraordinary conclusions accurately. Whereas Quentin's love for geography was influenced by a fifth grade teacher when he was challenged to memorize countries on the map. Knowledge of geography opens up numerous opportunities for the future, such as aerial photographer, cartographer, ecologist, geographic information systems, or GIS, specialist, land surveyor, transportation planner, water resources specialist, and geography teacher, like Quentin's mentor. Therefore, I, Doug Sprouse, Mayor, do hereby proclaim the 9th day of April, 2024 as Quentin Clevenger Day in the city of Springdale, Arkansas, and the City Council and I want to encourage and inspire Quentin to do great things in his future, whether in the field of geography or any other challenge he chooses to accept. Quentin, congratulations. Let Anna get a picture of the picture. All right, thank you. It's all yours, buddy.
Thank you, Mayor Doug Sprouse. It is such an honor to be here. I would like to thank all of those who came here to support me and donated their time, finances, and other resources to support this once-in-a-lifetime experience. I have a passion for geography because it's an endless world. There are a multitude of areas in this world, and they are so unique. It is full of undeniable quirks and astonishing geographic features. It has taught me a wide variety of cultures and how they approach the world differently. It has taught me that everyone's culture matters and everyone's culture deserves a chance to share their story. From 4 p.m. to 9 p.m. tonight, I'm having a fundraiser at Slim Chickens on Sunset Avenue. A portion of each donation will support my travel expenses. There are also other ways you can contribute to me to help me raise my funds, such as cash, check, Venmo, Zelle, and a GoFundMe. The GoFundMe takes a percentage of the money that I raise on the website. Once again, thank you for coming today.
Quentin, I'd like for you to stand and any family or friends that are here to support you, please stand. Thank you all for being here and for supporting Quentin in this great endeavor of his, all right? Thank you all for being here tonight.
I just wanted to say that when I taught 7th and 8th grade, I had lots of students that would go out for the geography bee, and it is no small task to study for that. It takes months and months and months of preparation. Congratulations.
That's great.
Quentin's more devoted than me.
All right. Thank you all again for being here.
I'm pretty sure that Quentin must have helped write that proclamation, because I know you didn't look up all that about Lewis and Clark.
Think he'll make a good salesman, too.
Yeah? I think he's going to do well at whatever he decides he wants to do. All right, we're at item 9, something I've been looking forward to, and guys, I kind of prepped the council a little bit last week. I know, Jill, you're here. Jill's here with the DSA. We may have some other downtown members here, but I've asked Milestone, I know Sam and Mike are both here, and I've asked them to do a presentation. I was fortunate a few weeks ago to hear from Mike concerning his recent trip, and having to do with Luther George Park. So you guys, however you want to do this, will come on up, and thanks for being here tonight.
Thank you, Mayor. Appreciate the opportunity to come and present the progress that we made on Luther George Park. I'm Sam Hollis, for those of you I don't know, with Milestone Construction. This is Mike Davis. I'm just going to kind of give a little introduction of what it's taken to get to this point. Mike's the brains behind the operation, so he'll be able to get into a little more detail. But, you know, about a year and a half when we got involved in this project, knew we were building an amphitheater, had no idea what kind of amphitheater it was going to be. And this is truly going to be a jewel for the city of Springdale. It is a one-of-a-kind amphitheater that's being constructed, manufactured in the Netherlands, and it is currently being shipped in pieces to the United States and to Springdale, Arkansas. So it's very exciting. We've received 4 shipments so far, I think, out of what, 25? Yeah. And so as long as they all stay on the ship from here, you know, to June, we should be in good shape to receive those pieces. But just to let you know, it's a one-of-a-kind amphitheater. It is basically a design-build type thing, meaning the architect kind of drew the idea of the project, but then we've had to get involved in the engineering. There's a structural engineer that's part of the architectural group in New Orleans, and then we've also hired a separate engineer to check all the engineering that they're doing in the Netherlands, if that makes sense. So it's been a very complex, this is a one-of-a-kind project, and when we were starting to get this put together, in order for everybody to sign off structurally on this feature, we actually had to do a wind tunnel test on this because there's no other structures anywhere that are identical to this, so, or even close to it, I think. So anyway, it's been a really neat experience so far, and with this, I'll let Mike kind of tell you a little bit more about his trip to the Netherlands and a little more detail on the amphitheater itself.
All right. I will say this has been just an amazing trip through this. Sam asked me to kind of watch it as we went through, and just to give you a couple of backgrounds on this, and I guess we'll just move. Oh, well, you know. So as Sam said, this was design build. It took 13 months of design through a company called CIG in the Netherlands, working with our engineer in Los Angeles, and to come up with the final design of the structure. It's going to take roughly about 11 months to fabricate. Like Sam said, it's 24 or 25 containers that are coming from the Netherlands to here, and they ship in 7, it will come in 7 batches. So right now we have batch 1 on the ground, batch 2 and 3 are on the water, about to hit Veracruz, Mexico. 4 have just left Antwerp, and the other 3, you'll see some pictures in production here. Just a few things about it. You know, we spent 2 months just basically in the ground that you couldn't see. There's 16 drill piers. We have about 1,056 man-hours in the foundations and the forming of this thing. 21 tons of reinforcing, 264 cubic yards of concrete. You can kind of see in the upper right picture, we had to recreate the base plate. Basically, we had to make a template for our anchor bolts. There are 195 anchor bolts in that 50-foot section. 5 shear lugs that if you get off, we're off for good. So it's been a very interesting process. What you can see over there now is the majority of section 1. The total thing is going to weigh about 145 tons. The overall structure is 152 foot wide, 34 feet tall, 52 feet deep at the wing. And so there are about 4 companies in the world that do this kind of work. One of them's in Kansas City. We tried real hard to get the one in Kansas City to do this. They wanted $60,000 just to price it, and their budget on it was going to be about $7.5 million based on some other structures they had done that were similar. This outfit in the Netherlands was substantially less, and part of the reason is they were spun out of a shipbuilder. So when you look at this, kind of think of it from the standpoint, this is built and designed like a ship. The skin is part of the structure. All the ribs are in. It's a tremendously large task of welding to put together. As well as on site, we'll have roughly a little over a quarter of a mile of welds that we have to do, and the majority of that's in the section that's there now. 4,000 bolts putting it together. You can see when you look at the structure right now, it's kind of rough. We have a lot of welding left to do there, a lot of grinding, a lot of polishing. We'll blast it out, but the final finish will be rusted. As you can kind of see, it's already starting to rust. The section that's there now is the solid section in the bottom of the picture here. And that kind of gives you a little bit of the glimpse of scale. But it truly is what I saw in the Netherlands was one section taller than this, and when you walk up to it, it really is massive. It's heavy. It's something to behold. These are a few pictures of what's currently being fabricated. You can kind of get a glimpse of the scale there of the guys standing there welding on it. It's amazing that they can fit these things into containers. This section will not fit into a container. It'll be sticking out of the top when it comes. Hopefully this is going to ship out, or if it's on target, this will ship out in about 3 weeks. This is the very last section on the north end. It's extremely heavy. Most of the steel plate you see there is 3/4 inch to 1 inch thick. You can see the base plate here is just massive. I think that plate itself weighs about 4,000 pounds. So it's been a project. This is the wing that will come out from the end. It's been amazing to go through and see the design through, put in the foundations. Everything is tracking just perfectly right now, it seems, so hopefully it'll stay that way. None of our stuff is coming through Baltimore, so. But it truly is a pleasure to do this and be a part of this job, and it is going to be a one-of-a-kind project that's going to be a great thing for downtown Springdale. Any questions that you have or anything?
I'll start with, because I wanted you to, there was something you said, you talked about, for those of you who have seen especially old school type body work on car, the English, if you know what an English wheel is, talk about that. That just blew me away.
This was something that I've never seen before. So like I said, the skin of this thing is part of the structure. So what we have sitting on the ground over there is 3/4 inch thick steel. And when we went to CIG's shop, the way they shaped that, if you're familiar with an English wheel that you use for sheet metal, you've got 2 wheels that press together and you can you run it through and you bend it around. They have a slightly larger version of that. They have an English wheel set up on a 500-ton press. And when we were there, the guy that was running it, he's got this press, you've got the wheel, it's self-propelled. There's a bridge crane on either side. Each bridge crane has 2 motors on it. So he's got a sheet of steel in there that's about 8 feet wide, 25 feet long. In this particular case, it was 1.5 inches thick. And you've got cranes hooked to all 4 corners. You have the English wheel working. He's got a remote. He can walk around with it. So he's moving all 4 cranes, working the wheel, and pushing the sheet with his shoulder to get it where he wanted to go as he's going through. And he'll bend it for a little while, and then they'll take the plywood template and set it on the lines to see if it's in shape. And not, they'll bend it a little more. So it was a very impressive operation. And, as you can see in the background of this picture, they're laying up the keel of the ship right there. And I mean, so it really is a shipbuilding operation, and it will be impressive.
You said that it's going to be rust. Is it just going to stay
Finish
rust?
is rust. It's all made out of a Corten steel, which is designed to rust. It'll rust to a certain degree, and then it stops, and the rust actually acts as a protectant for the steel. So that its finish will be rusted. Similar, if you've walked the Greenway trails, the bridges, it'd be similar to that.
Anything else?
I thought we were using some sort of unusual type of wood on this. I was totally wrong on that.
Yeah, I think it's always been,
Yeah,
it's always been metal.
been steel. And the restroom building is also 2-inch thick plate steel that's put together and will stay in its natural condition.
I think, Jeff, what you may be remembering is back when we were first, back before Milestone even got involved, I think, there was some different materials discussed. But this was, I think from design on forward, this was going to be steel like this. Now, the one company, I'm glad you brought up the company in Kansas City, because if we ever get pushback about why we got it made in the Netherlands, well, you've given us a pretty good reason, like substantially less cost. But they were also going to use were they going to use a different process as well?
Yeah, so basically what they were recommending, they were going to build a building. Basically, you build the structure and then they're just going to put a veneer on the outside. The veneer has no strength. Instead of, whereas CIG and a couple of other companies out of South Korea that do it, the steel is part of the structure. I mean, it is the structure, the skin.
Good deal. Anybody else? All right. This was designed by, you mentioned New Orleans, Trey Trahan, and they were the architect on this that, they also did the bean in Chicago. If any of you have been to Baton Rouge and seen the Crescent, it's right by the old, I think the old state capitol, I think. And it's also a performance venue. It's also a stage, and both completely different than this structure. But I think this will be an iconic structure for sure. That we'll have folks from all over wanting to see this.
Yeah, there will definitely be people come in to see it just for that purpose.
All right. Well, thanks, guys. Hopefully everything will keep coming the way it is.
I think it's well on track.
Yeah, and you can walk, you can see as it goes up. I think the best view is probably from that section of the Dean's Trail, or yeah, it'd be Shallow Trail, just off of the Greenway.
Yes.
As you walk along the south side of the park, there's a good view of it, and so kind of watch it as it progresses. So, thanks, guys.
Thank you.
All right. We are at item 10. We've got some appointments and reappointments. I'll go ahead and read the first one, resolution making reappointments to the Shiloh Museum Board of Trustees for the city of Springdale. Ann Green and Nathan Shin. You want to come up? Yeah, Angie's on her way up.
Thank you. Nathan and Ann aren't here, but we're excited for them to be reappointed.
It's to you, council.
Move resolution passes.
Second.
Motion is second to approve the resolution. Any further discussion? Okay. You may vote.
Carry 7-0 unanimously.
All right. Thank you. And as always, thanks to Ann and Nathan for their willingness to continue to serve. Item B is a resolution making appointments to the Shiloh Museum Board of Trustees for the city of Springdale. Angie?
I want to introduce Kim Smith. I think some of you know Kim, retired judge, and this is Jenny Neal. She volunteered with us for a long time, and then the community clinic went and hired her. And so we lost her as a volunteer, and we added her back as a board member. So we're really excited to have these two people join our team of ambassadors.
Great. Thank you all for your willingness to serve. Appreciate it. Council?
Move a resolution be adopted.
Second.
Got a motion and a second to approve the resolution. You may vote.
Carry 6-1.
Thank you all very much.
Okay, thanks.
Appreciate it. All right, item C, resolution making a reappointment to the Springdale Civil Service Commission. This would be Danny McGinley's spot on the commission. Danny served one term. This would be his second term. He's doing a great job on the commission, and I'm supposed to turn this over to Brian. Sorry, Brian. Go right ahead.
Thank you, Mayor. Very important commission that we have here, and council want to present this resolution. I'll read the title of it for Danny. It'll be a resolution making a reappointment to the Springdale Civil Service Commission.
Move resolution pass. Second.
Okay, we've got a motion and a second to approve the resolution. Any other questions or comments? All right, you may vote.
Carries 7-0.
All right, thank you. Brian?
All right. We have another resolution coming up before us here, and it is to fill a position on the Civil Service Commission. Charles Farmer had been on here for quite a while, I believe
I think right at 20 years.
20 years.
Yeah.
And we appreciate Charles for his service to this very important position. And we were able to interview. We had an interview, some candidates, and I believe we've got a good candidate that we would like to bring forward in Terry Page. And so I'm going to read this resolution here. And the resolution states, a resolution making an appointment to the Springdale Civil Service Commission.
I move the resolution be adopted.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second to adopt this resolution. Any other questions or comments? Anyone? All right, you may vote.
Carries 7-0.
All right, thank you all. Thank you, Brian. Thank you, Terry, for being here tonight. Look forward to serving with you. Item E, a resolution approving a reappointment to the Board of Commissioners of the Housing Authority to the City of Springdale. This is to reappoint Dusty Graham.
Move the resolution be adopted.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second to adopt the resolution. Any other questions or comments? Okay, you may vote.
Carries 7-0.
All right, thank you. Now we're at item 11, Planning Commission Report and Recommendations by Patsy Christie, Director of Planning and Community Development. Patsy?
The first item is a replat of lots 5R and 7 of the Industrial Park Plaza, creating a new lot 7A and 7B. Planning Commission recommends approval of this replat. The title of the ordinance reads, an ordinance accepting the replat of lots 5R and 7 Industrial Park Plaza, creating lots 7A and 7B, Springdale, Washington County, Arkansas, and declaring an emergency.
Move the ordinance be adopted.
Second.
Motion is second to approve the ordinance. Any other questions or comments? Anyone in the audience need to speak to this? Okay, are we ready to vote? I don't see it up on the screen. There we go.
Carries 7-0. Has emergency clause.
Move the emergency clause be adopted.
Okay, cast your vote on the emergency clause.
Emergency clause carries 7-0.
All right,
As
Patsy.
usual, there are emergency clause because there's pending action on these properties. The next one is a replat of Lot 4 and 5 of Palmer Freeman Addition. The Planning Commission reviewed this and recommends approval. It's an ordinance accepting the replat of Lot 4 and 5 Palmer Freeman Addition, creating Lot 4A, Springdale, Washington County, Arkansas, and declaring an emergency. And this is one that was split before, and now they're putting it back together.
This is also pertaining to the vacating the drainage easements later on,
Right.
too.
Right.
Same property.
Move the ordinance be adopted.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second to adopt the ordinance. Any other questions or comments? Anyone in the room? All right, you may vote.
Carries 7-0.
Move emergency clause to be adopted.
Okay, you may vote on the emergency clause.
Carries 7-0.
All right, thank you. That moves us to item 12, Finance Committee, and Chairwoman Amelia Taldo. Amelia?
Yes, all items forwarded from committee with recommendation for approval. Item A is a resolution authorizing the city attorney to settle a condemnation lawsuit wherein the R and R Lee Protection Trust is the defendant. Was presented by Ernest Kate, the attorney.
Thank you. I think you read the title. It's a resolution authorizing the city attorney to settle a condemnation lawsuit wherein the R&R Lee Protection Trust is defendant, project number 23 BPS 2, Tract 8. This was recommended for approval by Finance Committee for an additional $32,000, and the supporting documentation was the property owner's appraisal. That
Move
was-
the resolution be adopted.
Second.
You have a motion and a second to adopt the resolution. Any other questions or comments? Anyone in the audience need to speak to this? All right, you may vote.
Carries 7-0.
Item B is a resolution authorizing the mayor and city clerk to approve a change order for additional services to Spackman, Mossab, Michaels for playground bid package. This was presented to us by Ben Peters, Engineering Director.
Yeah, this is for work to prepare the bid package for the revised playground plans. As we talked about in committee, I think it's a value of $24,000.
Move the resolution pass.
Second.
Motion and a second to approve the resolution. Any other questions or comments? Anyone? All right, council, you may vote.
Carries 6-1.
Item C is a resolution authorizing the execution of a construction contract for a new playground at Luther George Park. That is, again, that was presented by Ben Peters, Engineering Director.
Okay, so this is to award the contract to Milestone Construction to build the playground at Luther George Park, splitting the funds from ARPA and from the existing donated funds. Total contract was $1,039,000.
Move resolution pass.
Second.
Motion is second. Any further questions or comments? Anyone in the audience? Okay, council, please cast your vote.
Carries 6-1.
The final item is a resolution authorizing the execution of a design contract for Murphy Park downstream drainage upgrade. That was also presented by Ben Peters, Engineering Director.
This is for a design contract with Half Engineering to design the drainage project from Murphy Park Pond to Wilkinson Street in Springdale for $191,000.
Move the resolution be adopted.
Second.
Motion is second. Further comments or questions? Anyone? All right, council, you may cast your vote, please.
Carries 7-0.
All right. Thank you, Amelia. Item 13, and I'm going to turn this over to our city attorney. Ernest?
Thank you, Mayor. This is an ordinance vacating and abandoning 2 drainage easements in Washington County tax parcel number 815-328-71000 pursuant to Arkansas Code annotated 14-301-301 et sec, declaring an emergency and for other purposes. And this is in connection with the project at the end of Sterwin. They're basically relocating a couple of drainage easements, and we had the replats for the property as well.
Move the ordinance be adopted.
Second.
All right, we have a motion and a second to adopt the ordinance. Any other questions or comments from anyone? Okay. Seeing none, hearing none, council, you can go ahead and cast your vote.
Carries 7-0.
Move the emergency clause be adopted.
Okay, we're ready to vote on the emergency clause.
Carries 7-0.
All right. Item 14, comments from department heads. Do we have anybody, any of our department heads need to bring anything up? How about our council? How about our city attorney?
No, sir.
Am I going too fast? Any council? Okay. Going once, going twice. City attorney, no. I don't have anything. Do we have a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Motion to adjourn. We are adjourned. We stand adjourned. Thank you.